just go by the packaging.
I'm pretty sure.
That bottle looks cool. Let's buy it. Which I did for a lot of fucking years, dude.
What was your biggest regret as far as buying a bottle because it looked cool?
That goddamn Kentucky Owl.
Really? You only bought that one because it looked cool?
Mm-hmm. Well, because I bought the Kentucky Owl Rye Batch 4.
And that's good.
And it's phenomenal. So when I saw Confiscated and like bourbon, let's buy it. And it was expensive. It wasn't Kentucky Owl Rye expensive, but it was north of $100, probably $125, $150 maybe. And just like when you drink it, you're like, there's a fucking $50 bottle. The fuck did I spend $150 on it for? So
you sat there head in hands. You're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Well, at the time I didn't know any better.
Sure.
And then I saw a review like years later. Somebody was talking about it. I'm like, what? That can't be right. And I went and had a pour. And I'm like, fuck.
He was right.
I overpaid for this damn nonsense.
I didn't overpay for this though.
No.
Cool packaging. However, this is 13-year-old Speyside Scotch. That was $55.
Yep. Craigellachie. Craigellachie. Well, I would say it.
I can't
pronounce Scotch.
Either way, Speyside Scotch. We've covered Isla Scotch.
Yep.
What's the difference with Speyside?
So the way I've always explained it to people with Speyside, it's going to be a little more like bourbon friendly. I mean, it's different in a way because typical Speysides are going to be a little fruitier and think like stone fruit, like peaches, pears, apricots, things like that. Now, if we go by the standard $10 per year, this should be about a $130 bottle.
Yes.
Right. But it's Scotland. It's 90, what we say, it's 92 proof.
Yeah, 92.
It's 46, so 92 proof. So for scotches, at least, most scotches that people don't know come in the 80s somewhere.
Yeah.
Between 80 to 86 is pretty normal for scotches. This coming in at 92 proof, so you got a little more like oomph, like a little more proof to it. Like I said, you were asking me this earlier. I couldn't tell you the last time I had this. But at the store, it was this or another one, and I'm like, try that one for $50.
According to the tube, and the tube's how you know it's a pretentious.
Yeah, you know it's legit.
How you know it's a pretentious bottle of firewater.
Right.
And it claims that they still use a worm tub, which is a long copper tube affixed to their pot still.
Yeah. So most, not all, but a lot of scotch is made with pot stills. Right, and now the difference between a pot still and a tall column still.
A tall column still is primarily what's used in the United States.
For a lot of bourbons, they use column stills. They're continuous column stills, so they're just making whiskey 24/7. Pot stills tend to be, think Irish whiskey.
That's softer.
A little softer.
Brighter.
A little, sometimes prettier.
Sure.
Right?
Usually those pretty notes, which I've heard you use for Indian whiskey before, it's stone fruit.
It's kind of buttery.
Yeah, buttery.
Right? It's got, like in the Irish world, that's where you get, like in like Jameson stuff, you get like a shortbread cookie type of a creaminess, right? So let's try this, because I said I couldn't tell you the last time I tried this. But it is very
pretty.
Just right off.
A lot of apricot.
Yeah, right off the bat, apricots, right? For days. Apricot, a little bit of vanilla.
Quite a bit of vanilla.
Almost like an apricot like tart with vanilla.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do see what you mean. Powdered sugar.
Yeah, but that's the beauty with some of these is you don't have to sit there and pick out a million notes. It's pretty obvious right off the bat, right? Mm-hmm. Just like with the Lafroig that we did.
Yeah, it's like oof.
Like these are the notes you're getting. Here you go. Mm-hmm. And that's the fun thing with some of these scotches. Now, I don't know what kind of barrels. Did you see what kind of barrels they use?
They
didn't say a whole lot.
I don't think they specified.
So a lot of these get put in used oak barrels.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it says that it's port barrels or sherry barrels, it's probably used American oak.
Yes.
So that's why, like, for people that if they haven't really gotten the scotches, like a nice Speyside like this that's finished in American oak, you're going to get a lot of familiar flavors, but you're also going to get, a couple that are a little bit different, hence the apricot, the apricot tart.
That's primarily from the single malt influence.
Correct. So this almost reminds me
of the
Indri. It reminds me of the Cavalon.
I believe we've drawn that comparison before, that the Indian whiskey that we've tried tastes most similar to Speyside Scotch as opposed to like Highland or...
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things you can do is just, try different types, different regions and really see, what the difference is, because then you figure out pretty quick what you like and what you don't
float
like.
your boat. Me, I like it all, so let's give it a shot. Huh?
Yeah. Cheers. To me, the nose
perfectly translates.
Goes right to the palate. So this is one of these whiskeys, and we've talked about it before, that, if as a whiskey drinker, because I think a lot of people, if they're watching this, which is kind of why we did it, is to help new people out. Mm-hmm. If you're a pro, you probably get bored of watching my fat ass talking about shit, right, to my kid. So, but to new people,
Scotch is a very intimidating thing.
It can be, just because, unlike bourbon, where you have different distilleries, but they're all kind of using the same grain, the same mash bills. Right?
They refine the process so much that you know what you're getting with bourbon.
Right, and you can try different bourbons to be safe, where Scotch was, at least for me, that was super intimidating in the beginning.
Well, not to mention the prestige, because these guys, Edward and Mackie, their family has been making Scotch since 1891.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be making Scotch.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's especially like for somebody like me who wasn't a huge Scotch fan. And I remember I had like a Highland Park one day. Mm-hmm. And coming from bourbon, it was just
too different.
It was too much, but nobody was there to be like, hey, instead of trying a Highland first, like maybe try a Speyside. Right?
Because with the Speyside, you're going to get more of the barrel influence, whereas with Highland, especially Highland Park, you get heavy
Yeah,
malt.
it's definitely heavy on the malt, where it's a prettier, I've used that word a few times, talking about scotches.
Sounding like a broken record, maybe say approachable?
Yeah, I think for people that, if you kind of afraid of getting into Scotch just because it is intimidating and there's a million bottles and you're reading these things like Isle of Skye or Campbelltown or Highland or Speyside or Lowlands, you're like, the fuck is this? I don't know what this stuff is,
In that way, bourbon's more approachable, because if you see on a bottle Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, you're like, all right.
It's the same.
Have an idea of what we're getting ourselves into here.
Right, but if you've never tried Scotch, or you've had some Scotches in you, because this stuff sits on the shelf, right? Mm-hmm. It's always on the shelf, and it's not that expensive. I mean, 13-year-old.
Got shipped across an ocean.
Got shipped across the ocean, and it's just, it's just pretty, very approachable. Like,
it's pleasant.
If you say you're not a Scotch person and we pour this might change your mind, right?
Yeah, and it would be different from where we would pour someone something from Islay, because they really don't like Scotch. Like, they're just against Scotch in general. It's like, all right, try this, see how different they make it over in Islay.
Mm-hmm. And so I worked with people that couldn't stand Islay Scotch. They liked all the other Scotches, but Islay was just too much for them.
It is weird.
It's definitely different. And if you haven't watched the Lefroy episode, because that was kind of fun. That was a good time.
I get a kick out of Lefroy. I drained that whole bottle.
Yeah, it's easy to do. It's good stuff.
It's delicious. This is quite good too. I'm very impressed with this. Very impressed with the recommendation. I see how you say this is a bourbon drinker's Scotch.
Yeah, it's got enough. Obviously it's a single malt, right? So it's got enough of that influence that you can pick out. And that's what, once again, I sound like a broken record, but if you're having trouble picking out flavor profiles and notes, like Isla's a great example. This is another great. I think
very Scotch.
upfront.
I think think and I hate being compared to each other, but I think Scottish whiskey, Scotch, and Irish whiskey are very good for that because they're generally, it's easier to pick out the notes.
I think so, especially when you get into having collections of bourbons and stuff, and then it's like, well, why is, what's different about Blanton's that, is different than a Woodenville or different than a Turkey.
And the differences are quite granular, whereas...
They're very, very small.
Granular.
Granular? I got some granular in my pants.
What?
I don't know.
Put that thing away.
I know, right?
They're like children here.
Put the monster away. Sorry, dude.
But granular because, it's the same reason why most people gravitate towards Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey is because on the surface it all tastes pretty similar, whereas with Scotch and Irish, the differences are pretty obvious.
They're pretty obvious, yeah. And so that's, why I was thinking if somebody's getting into a category like Scotch, at least for me, like you just said, it's pretty obvious. And very few, if I can, because I've had so many of them, but very few of them, like you smell it and then you drink it and they're wildly different. Like that happens in bourbon all the time.
All the time.
But with Scotches,
maybe that has something to do with corn and how corn works in the distillation process.
It definitely could. Yeah, I could see that. Don't know, but I could see that.
Well, it's probably the mash bill because, blended Scotch has a tendency to taste different on the nose and the palate, just a little bit more than regular Scotch. But for the most part, it's all single malt, whereas stateside bourbon whiskey is guaranteed to be corn and
corn, rye,
a flavoring ingredient, malted barley, that sort of thing.
That's what they call it in the business, is the flavoring ingredient. So it's rye or wheat. Sometimes, as we talked about with fragrance, it's 4 grain.
So that's probably it.
So they got it all, but this just being 100% malted barley. I love the fact that the nose transfers over to the palate. So if people haven't
makes it very straightforward.
Yeah, but if they haven't had it, it's a really good bottle. A, it's 13 years old. B, it was sub $60, even after tax.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you want to pick up apricots, like an apricot tart with a little bit of vanilla on there, like this is perfect for that.